Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this stupefying episode of Transmissions, we are joined by Transmissions' own editor, Mike, as we talk about all the announcements that came from Toy Fair 2019. A spooky Ecto-1 Transformer breaks out of the containment grid, and we get a good look at War For Cybertron Siege Springer. Today is Wednesday, February 20th, 2019, and this is episode 317 of Transmissions.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that ain't afraid of no Starscream's ghost. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Snazzy Mike, editor extraordinaire.
Hey everyone.
And Jeremy, aka Yakko.
How you doing? Let's talk GoBots.
Oh, burn.
Wrong show.
If the toy guy's not here, I get to mess up his stuff.
We're back. Toy Fair happened. It was a thing. We're going to talk about it. Of course, we are missing a few people. Our toy guy is not here for Toy Fair, but so feel free to tweet at Cybertronian Beast.
Cybertron Beast.
Oh, Cybertron Beast, that's right. Mention how disappointed you are about that. Yoshi's also not here, but we've gotten used to that.
We knew that.
It's all right. I'll take the place of like two people. It's okay. It's okay. We got this. We got this, guys.
No, Mike is more than equal to the task. Our long-suffering editor who deals with us every week. So thank you, Mike, for stepping in, and hopefully you're ready to talk toys.
Definitely. We can do it.
All right. Well, as always, want to thank our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. You guys are awesome. We have one new, or I should say returning member this week. So welcome back to the fold, Dinobot Maximize. He's back as a duly appointed supporter of the Transmissions podcast. Thank you, Dinobot, after a bit of an absence. But we appreciate you coming back. You never left, really, because you've been listening. You've been in our Discord as usual. Now you're back and making Yoshi happy by giving us money. So, thank you.
Yeah, somewhere Yoshi is cursing in joy.
Also, as always, we mention if you are not able to, or unable or unwilling to become a Donatron and give us money regularly, you can give us money irregularly by buying stuff from our store at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. That is powered by TeePublic. So if you go through our link and buy anything from TeePublic, you'll give us a little bit of a kickback. So we appreciate that. And thank you for your support. So enough about us. Let's talk about Toy Fair. So let's get into toy news. So this year was a little weird. It seemed like most of the big Toy Fair announcements happened before Toy Fair. And one that was a no exception to that was something that I actually wish Yoshi was here, because I think this is something that is right up his alley. It's like custom made for him. I mean, custom made for me too, but especially for him. We got a Transformers Ghostbusters mashup, an Ecto-1 Ectotron. This came out of left field. I don't think anyone was expecting this. I mean, we've only seen this in fan art and in our dreams, but we are getting an official licensed Transformers Ghostbusters crossover. So Ectotron transforms from robot to Ecto-1, the Ghostbusters car, and he just looks awesome. I mean, I'm just really kind of flabbergasted that this thing exists. Mike, did you ever expect this to happen?
No, certainly not. I gotta say, it's certainly interesting. In terms of a mashup, it's probably not the first one I would have chosen. I think I would have went with something like I don't know, something like Kit from Knight Rider or something like that. But no, I have no problems with this. I don't know, a little pricey for my taste, but still looks pretty awesome.
unfortunately, the price is higher now. If you got in a pre-order on Hasbro Pulse when it was first announced, it was only $40. But since that sold out pretty quickly, now you have to go to
6
GameStop.
hours.
6 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got to go to GameStop, and GameStop is charging an extra $10. So $50.
Or if you're in Canada, you can get it from EB Games. And I think when I was on the Radio Free Cybertron stream, I think we worked it out that it's roughly the same amount, like the currency conversion. So it's not going to be jacked up in price and even more just because you're in Canada.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. For once, they're not getting screwed just for being Canadian.
I really like the look of it in vehicle mode. But it is going to be one hell of a shell former, though.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it does. Apparently, this is a retool of the Combiner Wars Hotspot figure, and yeah, it does look like it's basically the Ecto-1 car is basically on his back.
Yeah, in robot mode, you can really see the Hotspot pieces.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have any of the combining bits at all.
Oh, really? They took them all away?
Yeah, they took all the combining stuff out, and that might have helped with some of the transforming or some of the like where they can hide pieces of the car. But I was impressed that this is actually a licensed GM car, so they made it look, as close as you can make it look to the actual car.
And comes with a little Slimer figure. That's cool.
I think if I picked this up, I would never take it out of robot. I would never take it out of vehicle mode. I just love it as that.
Jeremy, is this also hitting you in the feels?
It is, but I mean, it's not. It doesn't hit me where like I absolutely have to get this. If this was Kit or if it was the A-Team van,
oh yeah,
that would be an immediate. I have to pre-order. Ghostbusters, I enjoy, but I don't have the attachment where I need to get all the toys and stuff for it. One thing I do like about this, though, is the box is straight out of the 80s, G1 style box, complete with tech specs. And the tech specs have a ghost busting section, or actually like two of the sections are kind of Ghostbuster related. So that's really cool.
Oh, yeah. And it's got
a trap and then the Ghostbuster logo.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's like a 7 on being afraid of no ghosts, but a 10 on the actual ghost busting.
Yeah, they don't explain what the maybe that's trapping and busting. Maybe that's the ratings.
Yeah, the DeLorean I could really get behind the from Back to the Future.
Yeah, that would also be a good one.
Yeah, if they came out with that, I would definitely pick that up.
And the line here, like the line that they've come up with is like collaborate, or is it collaboration or something like that? I could see them expanding out to other brands. It just so happens that Ghostbusters has an anniversary this year. It's like 20th anniversary of Ghostbusters and 35th for Transformers. So they're able to take advantage of that and that new movie announcement and stuff.
Yeah, and also just the since this is the 35th anniversary of Transformers, so they've got that big 35th. I guess this is going to be on all the Transformers packaging this year.
Well, it's going to be on their special line that we'll talk about later. One thing I just noticed on the box is there's a little bit of slime on the Transformers logo. I didn't notice that before.
Oh, yeah. All right. There was some additional news about this, but I think we'll save that for alt mode because that was comics related. But stay tuned for that on our next show. All right. Well, that was a nice little teaser to wet our whistle. Now let's get into all the actual Toy Fair stuff. So, Jeremy, I'm going to pass it over to you to start us off.
First thing we have is there was an investor preview event the day before Toy Fair. Most of the stuff was actually media related, so we're going to cover that in alt mode. But toy related, Brian Goldner, the CEO, did mention that the Toys R Us disruption is fully in the past, and he says that Hasbro moved on successfully. We did talk in recent weeks about like some investors that are not happy with the losses that they incurred, which were, I think, more than expected. He also mentions that Hasbro is planning new China initiatives for Transformers. They are growing in other markets. And then they announced the amalgamation of Hasbro Toy Shop and Hasbro Pulse is this new store or a new site that is now the store for Hasbro stuff, completely replacing Hasbro Toy Shop. It's got an entirely new look, and all of the Toy Fair pre-orders went up on the site this weekend. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to take a look at it. I actually did one pre-order. They have this Hasbro Pulse Premium plan where you'll get free shipping throughout the continental U.S. throughout the rest of 2019, monthly premium only discounts and flash sales, and other perks at select fan conventions and more. And all you have to do is order something now, or between now and February 23rd, or then after that, it'll be a $50 enrollment fee, and you will be signed up for Hasbro Pulse Premium. So I bought a $10 thing.
I got me an Ecto-1.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I think that's a neat thing. It's kind of their version of Amazon Prime. But the site itself, I think it worked pretty well. It held up to the stress of the announcements yesterday or this weekend. You can filter it based on, the line you're looking for. And like if you click into Transformers, you can even then refine by like, do you want Generation, Studio Series? So I thought that was pretty cool. What did you guys think of the new Hasbro Pulse?
Yeah, it was. It seems like it's a pretty well-designed storefront. It's not didn't seem to be too buggy. Although they've messed up some of the prices, I guess. There was some MicroMasters on there for $20. Yeah, I mean they had it both ways. Like they had some of the Luxes up for $10 instead of $20, and those quickly sold out because they were half price. And then they have the MicroMaster up there for double price. I think that one probably won't sell out.
Yeah, which I'm not seeing on there at all now. One thing is though, it appears like you have to pay up front, but I believe what they said during the media availability was that it's just a hold on the funds, so it's not actually deducting the money yet. I'm not sure exactly how that works. Hopefully the money does go back to your account until the pre-order ships, because that's the way everyone does it, is you don't pay until the item actually ships. Moving on, we have some images from Flame Toys on their items. I don't know if we have anything. Well, okay, looks like they're going to have a Devastator. That's new. I think everything else we already knew about. The IDW Optimus, the Thundercracker, that's based off of their stylized Starscream, Megatron, the IDW Megatron, and the Bumblebee with the hammer we already knew about. But this Devastator looks new, and this is the model kit. So that's pretty cool. And then on the actual figures themselves that are not the model kits, they're going to have a Star Saber, and I believe we knew about that, but then also a Victory Leo in December. So I think, and those two can actually combine to form Victory Saber. So I think that was rumored or something, but we have an image here of a prototype, and they actually have an image of the Victory Saber prototype. So that thing looks impressive. I think it is funny to have these unpainted prototypes and then they stuck Autobot logo stickers on them. What do you guys think of these? Would you be interested in the Devastator model kit or any of these that have been announced?
Definitely interested in that Victory Leo and the Star Saber. They just look so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mike, have you done any of the model kits before, like Gundam or anything?
I've built some Gundams before. I do want to pick up a couple of the model kits. I'd actually like to get the Starscream and the Prime, but I think I'm actually more just interested in the straight figures, like the Star Saber and the Victory Leo, just because, again, they just look absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
That IDW Megatron looks really nice.
Yeah, he does.
It's going to be hell in my wallet, but still looks awesome.
Yep. All right, next we have Super 7. Last week we talked about their Optimus and Megatron Super Cyborg figures that you can see on the insides. They have also they have some not sure if these are mugs or what, but they look like, they're buckets. They're kind of like, I guess, Halloween-sized buckets. They're Optimus and Megatron's head, and I think we've seen those in the past. But what is really new here is they have the reaction line of figures, which is kind of your old style looking figures, but they do them for movies and stuff that might have never gotten the figures. And they're doing a line of Transformers, G1 cartoon styled Bumblebee, Optimus, Soundwave, and Megatron. And these can, I guess, affectionately be termed reaction masters because of the history of the line, but I'm not sure really who they're aiming these at. They're obviously not transforming. They can move on the arms and the legs at the waist, but it's not like they'll fit in any vehicles or anything. And I guess they're for the people that go into like Hot Topic and stuff and see them. What do you guys think of these?
Like impulse purchase kind of stuff, you think? Do we know what size these are? Are these like G.I. Joe sized figures?
I believe so. Doesn't actually say.
So these are just prototypes, right? Because they don't...
Yeah.
They were without any paint or detail. They remind me of those little those figures that used to come with the G1 figures. The little rubber, like
the decoys.
The decoys.
Decoys, yeah.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, I mean they are going to come in at $15.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a little pricey for what you're getting here.
Paying for the license and.
Yeah, but it's a real missed opportunity that they didn't call them reaction masters.
Yeah, in here, Chad in the chat saying that they're saying the size of the old Star Wars figures of 3 3/4.
Okay.
I could see these are for probably the person that sees them in the store and is like, oh, hey, I like Transformers as a kid and pick them up, but they're not really targeting us, which is fine. And I will say the art on the cards does look good. It's classic. It looks like art from the show. So, I mean, it'll definitely draw your eye to the card.
$15 though. I mean, you don't spend that much for like a G.I. Joe figure and you get a lot more articulation.
Well, these days you don't spend anything for a G.I. Joe figure.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
Let's see. Let's move on. The panel, like the actual Hasbro panel, they talked about the Ecto-1. We've already talked about that. The Studio Series reveals we'll be talking about later. I guess I'm just going to go into the Cyberverse stuff that they talked about, which was pretty interesting. They have this new Spark armor thing that the figures will have this armor that can go on to them, and then Optimus actually has a special armor that is built out of the Ark. They have a little Scraplet figure that looks very much like the Transformers Prime Scraplet, and it looks terrifyingly cute. The armor for the other figures, it looks like it transforms into various things, like Bumblebee comes with a battleship for some reason. We have an ultra-sized Alpha Trion, and then Warrior class, they've announced a Deadlock, which is interesting, and then a Gnaw, which it looks very similar to the Gnaw we got a few years ago.
I was just going to ask that. Is that the same as the Scout size figure?
The tail looks a little different. The eyes are not translucent. I don't think it transforms the same. Yeah, pretty sure it's a new figure, but I mean, it's clearly a Sharkticon. They've announced they're going to have a Skybite figure. Nice to see that character getting some love again. I'm not sure if he's going to show up in the show, but I think it's neat that we have Sharkticons and then we have Skybite, who I guess we could say would be their leader.
There's also an ultimate size Grimlock.
Oh yeah, and that one looks like he has some interesting gimmicks to it. The tail kind of flips around, or it has like a blade looking thing in there. We're getting a Jetfire. It's a Spark Armor Battle Class Jetfire. He has this like tank that forms like samurai looking armor. We're getting a Prowl in that class too. And then Spark Armor Elite Class Optimus, which looks like he combines with a Jet and a Bumblebee that also combines with the Jet. Oh wait, sorry, that's not Bumblebee, that's just yellow. The Starscream, and then there's the other Skybite. So Starscream combines with a construction vehicle, and Skybite combines with a drill. It's very odd, but it's interesting seeing these figures. I'm wondering if they're going to show up in the show at all, particularly Deadlock and Skybite, because, Deadlock turns into Drift when he leaves the Decepticons. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing here.
Yeah, I mean, he was already in the show, so the people who make Cyberverse show are very into the IDW comics because they took a lot of cues from them.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I know none of these are really aimed at us, but what are your thoughts on this whole line we've seen?
I think there's some cool ideas. I mean, the one complaint I have about Cyberverse is the articulation leaves much to be desired. But
yeah,
Skybite is worth a second look. I think the Optimus Prime with arc armor is interesting.
I mean, if anything, we're getting an arc.
Yeah. A Scraplet is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have a better articulated Sharkticon, so I don't need that guy. But Alpha Trion is also there. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If I were a kid, I would love these figures, but yeah, they're just a little bit too simple for me.
Yeah, there's a bunch of really neat ideas in here, and I think if I was actually in the age group this is marketed towards, that'd be a really cool thing. I do like the armor kind of stuff they have going on with it, but as a collector now, it's like Charles said, a little bit too simplistic for my taste. But I'm kind of glad these things are coming out, so kids and the target market can actually see this kind of stuff.
And I mean, I'm definitely in for a Scraplet and Skybite, maybe the Sharkticon, but I can see my kid being all over pretty much the whole line. I think this will be popular, and there's enough here to make parents want to look at it to get for their kids. But that is all I have on my list. So Mike, what do you got?
So I'm going to talk about some movie stuff. All right, so the Hasbro display at Toy Fair had some new and some old movie stuff, and movie masterpiece and masterpiece stuff in it. So right at the top, we'll take a look at some of the new stuff that was announced and shown. So they are doing a KSI Boss, which is going to be a repaint and potentially a remold of the Nitro Zeus mold from the last night. Next thing we have is the Dark of the Moon Jetwing Prime. Now this is actually kind of interesting because this is a Prime where the trailer turns into the kind of like armory platform thing that it did in Dark of the Moon. Pretty much the trailer just stands up on its head and then just folds into this kind of big ring of stuff. It looks like of accessories and pieces for Prime. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 accessories and pieces that you can attach onto him, along with the parts to actually form the jet mode that he had at the beginning of the third movie. So that is neat. Age of Extinction Drift. So a helicopter version of him. It doesn't look like he can actually turn into the car mode, so I don't think it's going to be a triple changer, even though it looks like he has kind of like the vehicle mode stuff on his chest. But I don't see any images of him actually turning into a car, so I do not know if he can or not. And the last of the Studio Series stuff is the Revenge of the Fallen Hightower. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we ever get a figure of Hightower as a deluxe or a Voyager release when the movies were out?
I have no idea.
I want to say we got one in like the Legends scale, the little Legends Devastator we got, but I don't recall ever seeing this guy in anything beyond that, because I remember the Legends Devastator was like a 6-bot combiner and it had like a tower crane vehicle in there. But we are getting a deluxe figure of that, and it looks interesting. It looks very, very Bayformer, this giant crane kind of above the head of the figure on it. So it looks very, very movie inspired. But before we move on, let's talk about these here for a second. Are these interesting to anyone? I think for at least my part, the Jetwing Prime is interesting. I might be interested in picking that up. What about you guys? Charles, what do you think?
It's a meh for me.
The whole thing, huh?
I don't really have a lot of love for these movie figures. I'm still kind of. It still irks me that they have triple changing characters and they don't bother to make them triple changing toys. I mean, I've complained about that for the Bumblebee movie characters, and this is going back to Dark of the Moon and Drift. Drift is a triple changer. They show him transforming into multiple modes in the movie, but nobody kind of even really remarks on it. It's just like, oh, he's a triple changer, whatever. It's just annoying. Don't make your characters a triple changer if you're not going to bother to design them as triple changers.
I don't think anyone who really did a lot of the design work for the movie really particularly cared about what they turned into. I mean, we had the nanoparticle storm thing on the fourth movies. Yeah, we had that on the fourth movie. So
yeah,
he could just became anything at that point. You might as well just give him 10 modes and be done with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, when actual physics comes into play, you can only do so much.
One thing that I might be interested in is we've talked about this before, but they did show at the Toy Fair display, they have the Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. So that's already this is its first official showing, even though we've had it leaked for a while. So that's very G1-esque, thanks to Travis Knight, but it's different enough to be interesting, I think.
Jeremy, any thoughts on the deluxes that were shown here? Anything you're interested in?
I mean, if anything, it would be that Prime, but even then, I'm not that big onto these movie designs, but I remember the hype when that original figure came out with the trailer turning into the weapons base, and I think it's really cool what they've done here with that same concept.
Looks a bit better here in this size as well, rather than the huge one.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to some Masterpiece movie figures. Not a whole lot of brand new news coming out of this one, but some confirmation that we're getting the MP Jazz and the MP Megatron from the movie line. This is the Jazz that can break apart into two pieces and has the additional little spinal column accessory you can attach to it to recreate that incredible scene in the first movie. But yeah, no real big news on it, just some more confirmation that it is coming out. And the last thing that I have is more confirmation and images of upcoming Masterpiece stuff. Now, while there's been no actual confirmation from Hasbro itself that they're releasing the figures, the fact that they did show up at the Hasbro booth and the Hasbro display at Toy Fair kind of implies that they're going to be coming to the States at some point. So we have MP43 Beast Wars Megatron. That is coming. MP44 Prime version 3. MP45 Bumblebee version 2. And then the animated colors on Prow and Wheeljack, MP 17 plus and MP 20 plus. So again, nothing really brand new on this front, but at the very least, confirmation that it is going to be coming to the States at some point in the somewhat near future? Question mark. Either of you guys going to pick these up? I'm actually kind of interested in the Wheeljack mold because I didn't actually pick up Wheeljack when he first came out, and I've always loved me some Wheeljack. What about you guys?
Well, I mean, I already have the MP Wheeljack, the first one, so I'm not really that interested in buying it again. But it is a great figure. So if you missed out, it's a great opportunity to pick up a good figure. The Optimus is still, I think, way too much. It is nice seeing in some of these pictures, like you get the back view and you can kind of see how tightly they're packing things in, like in the legs and stuff. I mean, it looks really good, especially from this model or this figure that they had here. The thing that I would really, really want to get my hands on is that Beast Wars Megatron. That thing looks fantastic. Looks like the colors are perfect. I love everything about that figure.
We got a price for that too. That was like what, 160, 180?
I can't remember. I think so. I think it comes with. I think I heard somewhere. I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I think it comes with a little toothbrush. Because there was one episode where he was in robot mode and brushing the teeth on his T-Rex head.
Just looking at these pictures, those teeth are pearly white.
Yeah.
Would make perfect sense if it came with a toothbrush, wouldn't it? What about you, Charles? Do you have any interest in brushing Megatron's teeth?
No, I think the Masterpiece line is I'm priced out of this line now. It's getting a little bit too heavy. I did notice actually on Hasbro Pulse the 2.0 Masterpiece Bumblebee is listed there for $120. So that's more confirmation that it is really coming to the States. So
that is just so outrageously expensive compared to the other ones. Like the first Masterpiece Bumblebee was in the $60-$70 range, and we thought that was a lot for that particular figure because it was so small.
I understand prices rise, but yeah, I think the Masterpiece line is a little bit too spicy for me now.
To be honest, I mean, even the mainline stuff is getting a bit too pricey for my taste.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was agonizing, or I was like not really agonizing, but I was trying to justify to myself that $20 for a deluxe was, like, yeah, I can do that.
I'm honestly having a hard time justifying that at this point. $20 for a deluxe, that's, usually a wave is like 4 or 5 deluxes, so.
Yeah, I mean,
minimum $80 right there.
Yeah, as we'll see on trips to the store, I got my first Siege Deluxe figure. I'm just like, okay, I'm likely only going to get one of these for a while. Which one of these characters do I really want?
All right, cool. So that is what I have from Toy Fair. Charles, what do you have?
We are still getting we're getting more War for Cybertron Siege figures. So we talked a lot about the new ones coming out last week because they were all Hasbro decided to show them all ahead of time. So there's not too much more new coming out of Toy Fair there, but there are a couple of bright spots here. Just showing the display, it has has images of all the figures that we only saw renders of last week. So the new Jetfire figure, in particular, the Jetfire figure has a panel where the Autobot symbol can swap around to the Decepticon symbol. So that's cool, calling back to when the first episode in G1 where Skyfire appeared, and he was Starscream's friend, so he started off as a Decepticon, but when he realized that the Decepticons were bad, he changed to an Autobot. Also, the hands on Jetfire, when they squeeze in, they form a 5mm peg so that he can hold weapons. But then you can also move the hands out and pose them in different configurations. So that's a pretty cool little gimmick. We also see up close images of Omega Supreme. So and he's up for pre-order. I think all these guys are up for pre-order now, both on Hasbro Pulse and on Amazon. So I'm still I'm really kind of surprised that they've all got this battle damage stuff on them. I mean, Hasbro's really committing to that. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially on the lighter colored figures.
Yeah. I mean, it's really for these figures let's be honest, the Generations line is really targeted for the adult collector, and we're not imagining the War for Cybertron where we need all our figures to have battle damage on them. I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird choice. To talk a little bit about the new stuff, we finally see our first images of Springer. So we had some teases about rumors about War for Cybertron Springer coming to this line, and he is here. He looks very good, very G1-esque. I mean, right out of the 86 movie almost. Very much, a really good-looking Springer figure. We've also got Thundercracker, which is a repaint of Starscream, of course. We've got Red Alert, who I think we've seen pictures of Red Alert because they used them as a figure for showing off weaponizers. Mm-hmm. But we now have official confirmation of Red Alert here.
I love that his light bar can come off and it has a 5mm peg on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it's probably like the same as Prowl, right? Prowl has the same thing. Probably,
but I mean, Sideswipe has that hole in his roof for his gun, It's obviously where the light bar goes.
Yeah. We've got a couple of new weaponizers, or target masters, as the old school fans will probably call them. So there's Caliburst, which is a redeco of Blowpipe from Wave 1. And then Smashdown, which is a Minotaur robot mode that turns into a hammer. I think that's also a redeco of a Wave 1 figure, isn't it? Wasn't there another hammer? I don't know. I don't remember.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain this one's new.
Okay.
Yeah, he's listed as a Wreckers mascot.
Then we've got the Galaxy Prime, or the Galaxy Force Prime that was shown off officially. Although we had seen pictures of it, but now we have the official images and in-person images at Toy Fair. And then we have all the other figures that were announced last week. So the Impactor and Mirage, the little the Ultra. They have the Omega Supreme in his base mode with little. I didn't know that the rocket for Omega Supreme has a little hatch where Countdown can go in. That's pretty cool. And I think that's all the Siege figures. That's all the mainline Siege figures. So before I go on, I'll just stop here. Mike, any of these Siege figures looking good to you? Covering both the ones we talked about last week that were announced, and then the new ones today or this week.
I want to pick up Six Gun. That looks pretty cool. And if someone were to get me a Galaxy Force Prime as a gift, I have no problem with that. No, other than that, pass on pretty much everything.
Okay.
It's a very, very small list.
Even Springer? The Springer's not doing anything for you?
I got the Generation Springer, and it's like one of the best figures I've ever bought. I have absolutely no regrets about purchasing that figure, and I have no intention of replacing it.
Yeah.
At all. It is, if it's not like the best figure in my collection, it is certainly one of the top contenders for it. So I have no desire to replace that. I don't know. I've been very hit or miss on the whole Siege line just to begin with. There's some things I really, really like. I have a Cog figure. I have Skytread. I got the Megatron as well. And I enjoy all of them, but it's one of those things where the rest of them just don't really do a whole lot for me. Mm-hmm. The Jetfire does look good. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the look of it. At this point, though, it's just priced at that. Like $80 for that figure? It's like, I can't justify it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Omega Supreme. If I find it like in Ollie's or find it at a very deep discount, maybe I'll pick it up. But I mean, what is Omega Supreme now? Like $160, I think?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I can't justify that. Even if I had the space for it, I can't justify that. And this is I know it's kind of like I know I've been saying this all on the show so far, but I think Hasbro is getting like very dangerously close to pricing me out of a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, Six Gun. I like the Six Gun. I'm going to get that once I find it. Galaxy Force Prime. If I find it a bit cheaper or if someone gets it for me, cool. Excellent. I wouldn't even say no to an Impactor. But beyond that, no real interest.
Fair enough. All right. Hope everyone was taking notes because you've got to get Mike's Christmas list ready. All right, Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
I'm really liking the Jetfire, except for the battle damage stuff. That looks horrible on the white. One thing I'm not seeing many people mention on the Jetfire, I have one of the pictures here. There's a couple pegs that fold down, and you can have a bot like holding on with their hand underneath, like he's ferrying, robots that are just kind of hanging on. I thought that was a neat gimmick, especially for a jet as big as he's going to be.
Oh, cool.
The Impactor, I think, looks great. Like Impactor and Springer both. I would love to get both of those. I'm hoping the colors turn out as well as these hand-painted samples. Yeah, I'm thinking Springer is one where the battle damage actually isn't that bad because he just looks like, being a wrecker. He's supposed to be, doing the dirty work. But even then, it's just, I'd rather not have it.
Yep.
The Galaxy Prime, they're actually calling it the Galaxy Upgrade. I was never the biggest Armada fan, so it doesn't really do much to me. But the un-Galaxy version, like before he has that armor on, I do like that new look that we're going to see in the comics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what else here? I think Red Alert looks fine. Omega Supreme looks fantastic. I talked about it some last week, so I'm not going to, rehash my points, but I think it looks great. I just wish that I had the budget and the space for it. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, on Smash, or is it? Yeah, Smashdown. I like him, but the handle just seems very short. And I wish that it had a longer handle, so, it'd be a bigger hammer. But other than that, I like the concept. I'm sure that he's going to get remade into other figures later on.
Beyond the regular Siege figures, there are a couple additional items they showed off. One was a G2 Siege Megatron, which is a redeco of the Megatron figure, the War for Cybertron Siege Megatron, the Voyager figure, in Combat Hero G2 Megatron colors. This has me a little disappointed because the purple camo G2 Megatron, that's the G2 Megatron everyone's been asking for. I don't know why they picked this Combat Hero colors. It's just doesn't look good to me.
It's a really odd choice.
Yeah.
a very odd choice. Are we honestly expected to believe that they didn't know what G2 Megatron the fans were talking about? I mean, honestly.
Maybe they did a Google image search on G2 Megatron and that was the first one that came up.
No, that's bullshit. And I'm going to do a search right now to prove my point.
They were using Bing. Give them a break.
See, there you go. First image.
Yeah, so this is really disappointing. Yeah, I don't know. If Yoshi were here, I'm sure you'd hear lots of curse words, but yeah, this is disappointing. The other set of Siege figures that were coming out were 30. These are more of the 35th anniversary figures. So these are getting a bunch of War for Cybertron Siege figures with redecos and getting special 35th anniversary packaging. I guess these are not going to be mainline figures. So these are we're getting an Optimus Prime, a Megatron, a Sound Blaster, so a black redeco of Soundwave. Blue Streak, which of course would be a redeco of Prowl. Optimus and Megatron in particular look like they're going to be cell shaded repaints instead of the battle damage, which I guess is a win if you didn't already pick up the Prime or Megatron. Blue Streak looks to have his shoulder mounted rockets that were missing on the original Prowl figure. Apparently these figures were removed from the display before the display was open to everyone, so we don't have a lot of images, at least not from the TFW link, but they were there. I remember, Jeremy, you guys were talking about them on the live stream, so I guess you guys saw them. Yeah,
and I suspect that these will be through their selects thing, which is what they're doing with exclusives now, where one might be an Amazon exclusive, one might be only on Pulse, one might be on like Target exclusive or something like that. But I love these specifically because they don't have the battle damage. So I'm likely going to hold off on getting the Optimus and the Megatron just to wait and see what these are. I mean, obviously they're going to jack up the price some, but if it looks like I'm anticipating it's going to look, it'll be worth it.
Mike, any of these 35th anniversary figures interesting for you, or still a pass for you?
If the Megatron was actually the Gen 2 Megatron that everyone kind of wants, maybe. I do have the Megatron figure, and it's a really cool figure. Well, you know what? I can't even say that, because I'm sure that at some con, maybe STCC or something like that, they'll have the correct, in quotes, the correct Gen 2 Megatron. So I'm sure it'll come out. I have no desire to pick up this one, just because if they did a proper G2 one, maybe. And it wasn't ridiculously overpriced.
All right. Well, I think that is everything that came out of Toy Fair. So, yeah, solid C+ for Toy Fair this year. Yeah, I guess Daryl picked the right year to miss the Toy Fair show. But I guess we'll move on to some rapid fire toys.
Absolutely, positively, definitely. Nobody can get the job done faster than I can. Nobody.
All right, in rapid fire, we have an update on the Toys R Us rebranding to now. This is now going to be called True Kids brand. This is odd, but we'll have more updates later, I'm sure. We have BotBots Wave 2 teams and packs. So they have like Spoiled Food and Music Mob and stuff like that. If you're into BotBots, check those out. There's a rumor of a Siege Leader Class Astrotrain. We were hoping that would be announced at the show. It wasn't, so maybe San Diego. We'll have to see. And then we have Mastermind Creations R50 Supermax. That is a crowdfunding thing that they're doing. So if you are interested in an IDW-styled Fort Max, check out the link here, and hopefully they can reach their goal. It looks like a good figure. That is Rapid Fire Toys.
Can I just drag down rapid fire for like 2 minutes here?
Sure, Daryl.
The Fort Max from Mastermind Creations just looks absolutely beautiful, and I really, really hope this the crowdfunding goes through. Last time I looked at it yesterday, and they were at just under half with 13 days left. So it's not looking bad, but not looking great either. So if anyone is even has a passing interest in this, oh my god, please do it. I really want to see this figure.
Yeah, and size wise, he is on par with their
Carnifex?
Yeah, Carnifex. Or Double Evil. That's it.
I took a look at some of the stuff on the page for this, and they have like 3D videos of like how the engineering is going to work on it. And just like watching like how the leg moves, there's this like double joint or this kind of like connected joint to the lower leg that kind of moves and shifts as the leg moves, and it moves the foot as well. And it's like, oh man, that's just awesome. If the figure is even half as good as the animation is showing it to be, it's going to be an absolutely beautiful figure. And it actually turns into something kind of cool looking for its alt mode, this kind of like tank. Don't get me wrong, I love Perfect FX Warden, but its alt mode is a head or a cobbled together partsformery tank.
Yeah. This actually looks kind of like a Battle Fortress tank.
Yeah. I really want to see this thing. I just wish they use a more mainstream crowdfunding site.
Yeah. But then they're probably opening themselves up to Hasbro lawyers.
Yeah, maybe. Point is, support this. It's awesome, and I want it.
Let's move on to some transmissions trips to the store. This is where we show off all the amazing Transformers stuff we got this week. We do this as a video that you will see on YouTube. You can see all the stuff we bought in beautiful high definition. But if you just keep listening to the podcast, you'll listen to us describe everything in loving detail right here. But please pop over to that YouTube video if you want to see all the stuff we talk about. But without further ado, trips to the store. Jeremy, I'm going to start off with you. What did you pick up?
As I mentioned in the show earlier, I picked up my first Siege Deluxe figure, and I got Sideswipe. This is a pretty cool figure. I've transformed him back and forth a few times now. I think it's a really nice transformation. I like how they kind of give him ankle tilts just because the foot piece is on this little hinge, so you can put him in some pretty dynamic poses. I like that. I like that you get special mounting for the little shoulder missile. It's not a 5mm peg. It's a little tab. I don't know, it's a nice sideswipe, and surprisingly, the little battle damage stuff didn't annoy me as much on this figure as I thought it would, because it's showing up kind of bright here on my camera, but being on a darker part of the figure, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I think, like I said in the show, it's going to be worse on the figures that are lighter colored where it just makes the figure look dirty. But here, I don't think I will try to remove it with rubbing alcohol or whatever. That is what I got this week. I debated between this guy and Hound, because I've heard that Hound is a great figure too. Sideswipe has always been one of my favorite characters, so I had to get it.
Cool. All right, I got a bunch of little things this week. Butts. Or botbots.
Butts.
So this is Skills Punk. He turns into an old school video game cartridge. You can see he's got a little Autobots versus Decepticons logo on there. So that's one guy. Bonsai, who turns into a bonsai plant. There's a Puxy, who's a hockey puck. What do we got here? Slappy Happy, who turns into a ruler. I guess you hit people with this ruler. Chilla Gorilla, who turns into Bluetooth headphones. And he's a gorilla, so he's not a robot. In robot mode, he's a gorilla. And lastly, Rad Hacks, who turns into a laptop. I don't know why he's sweating, but maybe he's doing a very difficult hack, and he's under a lot of stress. But
he just got the tech support call.
Yeah, these are all cool little figures. So yeah, here they all are, all my bots.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the display they had at Toy Fair, but they recreated that mall image that was on the posters as an actual display, and it looked really good. I wish that they would have done that, like released that. Yeah, so they actually made that as an actual display for all the bots in the same poses and everything, and it looked really good.
Nice.
They should put that out as a product.
Yeah, this has a checklist, so I guess I should check off all the ones I got now and try to collect them all like little Pokemon. But yeah, that's what I got this week. Bots. My first bots. So
you'll never forget your first bot.
All right. Mike, over to you.
Cool. So I actually did get some bots as well. Actually, my wife bought some bots for both of us a couple weeks back, and I actually think we got the same set that you did, but not the game cartridge one. So I don't know if that came in with the set or if that was an individual one that you got there, Charles.
Yeah, that was a blind one I picked up separately, and yeah,
gotcha.
That came separately. So,
but yeah, we picked up that same 5-pack. It was pretty fun. So I picked up over the last few months a couple of the Siege figures. It's the only Siege figures that I've picked up so far. And probably some of the few Siege figures that I will actually pick up. So I did get Skytread or Flywheels, for Christmas a couple months back. So he's a pretty cool figure. I do a little disappointed that he's not two individual figures like Battletrap is, but still pretty awesome figure though. Very faithful to the IDW version that died like the first issue he was in or something like that, with the giant tread feet. Picked up Cog. Actually, I was given Cog, Christmas gift as well. I have the Fort Max, so of course I wanted to get this guy here. Love Fort Max, love Cog. He's pretty awesome. I pretty much just kept him in his combined form. I know he'll turn into all the little accessories and stuff, but had no real desire to, so it's kind of stuck in the same mode for a while now. And the last figure, the actual one that I picked up myself, was the Siege Megatron. And he is a really cool looking figure, I was a little surprised with just how much I enjoyed him, how much I liked him. I will say that his sword cannon thing, just look at that. This is just freaking nonsense. I was hoping that when I remove this, I could take the actual blade part of it out, but you can't. It's part of the same thing. There's a joint on the bottom down here where it can make
a stand for the cannon.
Right, and it combines into the actual figure like this. But I was really hoping you could remove that part because the cannon looks pretty awesome, but now it's got this damn sword thing attached to it. It's like, what the fuck is this?
It's an homage to the Japanese G1 release. So.
It still looks like shit.
Yeah, well, that's why we have waves.
It's an homage to Final Fantasy VIII with the gun blade there.
Jeez, yeah. But aside from the sword gun over there, the figure itself looks really, really awesome. It's got ankle tilts as well. Pretty cool on that end. And cannon is removable. There we go. So that's took far too much effort, but whatever. It's fine. But yeah, cool figure. I was surprised by how much I liked him. I'm considering picking up the Prime. Still haven't decided yet if he goes on sale or if I am cheap somewhere, then maybe. Because the Prime does look pretty awesome in robot mode. So, who knows? Maybe. But yep. So, Skytread, Cog, and Megatron.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence with that Megatron just because I've seen it in the store a couple of times, but that battle damage is just, it's turning me off.
It is a bit rough. And on the legs, hope it doesn't go out of focus or anything, but in the legs, the dirt on it is a very light color. So I don't know what they're thinking with that.
And we saw last week Jason Kirk had removed off of his Megatron all of the stuff, and so it is with some elbow grease. It is possible to get rid of it.
Yeah. Still, though, the fact that you have to put in like a good hours of work cleaning a figure that you're already spending a good amount of money on, it's like,
Yeah.
I bought a toy and a chore. All right.
All right. Well, that's all we got for Trips to the Store this week. Thanks, everyone, for watching. All right. We're back from our trips to the store, and that'll do it for this episode of Transmissions. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Okay. Did we all do it?
All right.
I did it.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Ooh, more people showed up. Hello, everybody.
Well, I heard Mike was here.
I bring all the boys to the yard?
Specifically your milkshake.
Absolutely, positively, definitely. Nobody can get the job done faster than I can. Nobody.
Give me 1 second. Actually, it didn't have these open.
It's not very rapid there, Jeremy.
It hasn't actually started yet.